have a tough defense. It goes back to the havoc. The how, the way we attack, the way we're violent, playing together as one, and then competing. That's our identity, and that's what we'll show every day. I mean, we will be judged by that. The havoc that we bring every single play, and we show that, and I'm proud of the guys to keep bringing that every single day.
A lot of turnover at the cornerback position. Who stood out to you?
Yeah, there's a collection of guys right now. I mean, we're doing everything we can to keep the reps equal. You got guys like Zaquan, who's played a lot. Guys like JB, who just got here. That's it's always hard in terms of a transition, right? But now he's getting to learn how we do things here, right, and being more comfortable with the scheme, how we do it as a program. So that's been positive. You got guys like Sam Madu. You got guys like Evan Redding, Mike Gerald that have been here, right? Rylan Kelly, I think, has taken some huge strides, this spring that, he's looked better than he's ever had there. So I'm really excited. And then you got a young guy like Naeem Parrish, who is always around the football. And I'm really excited to see his development.
Follow up on that. Have you ever seen someone that can get to their position and track the ball? But I've isolated on him a couple times, and he just goes to the ball.
Yeah, there's certain guys that have a knack to get to the football. And you see those guys like Antoine Winfield Jr. had that. Tyler Newbin had that. Corey Parrish had that. Kerry Brown has that. Naeem Parrish has that. And as much as we can continue to find those type of guys, those are the guys that fit in this defense.
And it's almost not something you coach to an extent.
Yeah, there's an instinct level there, right, as a football player, right? And then there's a technique, a coaching in terms of, anticipation. We always say anticipate, don't assume, right? If I'm able to take the first step in the right direction before everybody else, the angles change. And when that happens, advantage defense.
You didn't have Coy last year during spring drills. What does he have him here this year? What has that done? What does that open up for you as a defense coordinator?
Yeah, same thing. Goes back to the versatility deal, right? So being able to kind of put him around, play him at free, play him at nickel, do whatever we need to do with him because he's a special talent. We have a lot of talented guys in that safety room. As much as we can continue to put all those guys on the field at the same time, once again, we're going to be pretty dangerous there.
How do you feel about the defensive line right now, and how do you go about creating more depth there?
Yeah, you got guys that have played a lot of football for us, like Jalen Logan Redding, Devin Eastern, Anthony Smith, who I think is going to be the best, one of the best defensive linemen in the Big Ten, right? And then behind that, you got to create that depth. I think it's very similar to kind of where we were at safety this year and last year in terms of we had to create that floor, right, and lift that floor up. And I think those guys are doing an awesome job leading. We've brought in some guys in, some transfers in that have played a lot of football now for us, 7-8 practices through here, right, to continue to create that depth, create that competition. But I'm really excited for that room. That room is tighter than it's ever been, and it's fun to see those guys go to work every single day.
How do you go about getting transfers up to speed when they get in here, just in terms of like how much you can put on their plate, when to give them more and potentially scale back?
Yeah, there's required time and then there's unrequired time, right? And the required time that gets the job done, right? The unrequired time, that's your homework, right? That's what makes you a really elite player. And I think the standard that we've had here, with guys that have started that left here and then that passed that down to guys that are now older, like Jalen Logan Redding and Anthony Smith, and now they're guiding those guys of how to watch film, how to get on the whiteboard, how to, continue to keep taking that next right step, because it's never enough, right? Like you're never going to get to that level. It's always going to keep, rising and rising and rising to get to where you want to go if you want to be great.
When it comes to your job, how much of your responsibility is to do those kinds of things shift now that you have the whole defense and not just the safeties?
Yeah, it goes back to like the role is different, but it goes back to I've been preparing for this, for my whole life. So it's not so much of like drinking from a fire hose. Like I'm gonna be honest, like when I became the safeties coach, that was a little different because there's recruiting involved and being on the road and things like that I hadn't done before. This is kind of like I've been training for this my whole life. I've had awesome guys before me, to come before me and show me the way. And I'm surrounded by an elite staff. So without that, like, it's not about me, right? It's about everybody. And we have an elite D staff, and they make my job a lot easier as well.
Coy gets a lot of the attention, but Kerry Brown and Aiden Goosby took steps forward last year. What's the 25 plan look like for them?
Yeah, same thing. It's taking the next right step. I think last year, like, no one kind of, knew that those guys were going to emerge like they did, right? And we did. We saw it, right? We saw what they were able to do in the spring training camp, and then you get into the season. Now it's time to take that extra step. Now it's time for the leadership, right? Now it's time to take the whole defense over, not just the safety room, not just the DBs. Let's really take control in terms of the leadership, at that position.
What have you seen from a couple of younger guys like Garrison Monroe and Jackson Howard?
Yeah, I'm excited about Garrison Monroe. He has had a terrific spring in terms of every single day that guy is getting better. I show unit clips in the defensive room every single day from the practice before of Havoc, the how, attack, violence, one, and compete. That guy's on one of those clips every single time. He's a guy that just continues to do the right thing over and over and over again. He's getting better. He's covering better. He's being physical. He's confident now. He looks great. His body's great. He's in for an exciting season. As for Jackson Howard, same type of thing. I've been very pleased with him. The how is off the charts with that guy. I showed a clip the other day of him getting out of the stacks and is going to punch the ball out, and then in the scrimmage does the same thing, actually gets the ball out, right? So it's doing those things over and over and over again, right? Creating those boring habits to create an instinct, right? Elite instinct, right? And he's been doing a great job of that. I'm really excited for him to take the next step.
Take one or two more for Coach?
What have you seen in some of the younger linebackers?
Yeah, a guy like Kingsbury has flashed a lot, especially, I'm talking about how, versatile we can be. A guy like that you can put him in different packages. You can put him off the edge. You can put him at Sam. You can put him at Will. You can put him at Mike. He's a guy that can do everything, plays violent, attacks every single play. So I'm really excited about him. He had a great last couple practices. A guy like Joey Gerlach had a great day today, right? So another guy that's continuing to take the next step. Like, those are the guys that are, again, they watch Maverick come in as a young player, take his lumps, play, right, and now play at a high level. They're watching that, they're feeding off him, and now they're able to start doing the same thing. So I'm excited about those young guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Looks like we have Devin Eastern over here.